You've arrived again for some more GeoGuesser tips and tricks, and today it's over the United Kingdom. Mainly because Europe is the hardest continent, and more European guides, the better. So, let's just get into this guide. This guide will be more of a beginner to intermediate guide, so let's just get into it. There will be things about how to region guess, with like language and such, and there'll be overseas territories. They will be out of order, but don't worry about it. So this will be two things. Of course, the bollard. This is the most common bollard in the United Kingdom. You have this one with the red front and the white back, and you can tell this is the front because the United Kingdom drives on the left. The UK, Ireland, and Malta, and I guess Cyprus are the only countries in Europe that drive on the left. And Ireland and Malta do not have this. The United Kingdom and Ireland often are confused for, but there are some simple things to help you make sure you're getting the right country. So, and also the UK is very hilly, mainly in the northern bits, and I guess in like Wales. Most of the United Kingdom population lives in the urban cities like London, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Leeds is around here. So you can obviously tell this is a massive city. Just look at this lane. Goes down so many enormous buildings. The red brick, very official, very rich. You're gonna be in like Birmingham, Manchester, or London. But this electric car right here, you can see in pretty much just 3 places in Europe. That being London, Dublin, and just some parts of Germany. So, but if you see this, it's just a little tip for London. Okay, so this. Having just a road surrounded by hedges of bushes like this road. This is very common for both the United Kingdom and Ireland, but also like northern France and sometimes even like Belgium. But the English Channel plus like Ireland, it's very common to see this. But yeah, just seeing these hedges of bushes, just following the road, especially this side, very British. Okay, now time for some region guessing parts. So, the United Kingdom in Europe is home to 4 quote-unquote countries, but they're not officially countries. They're just together in a union, which is the United Kingdom. But you have England, which is the southern bit. You have Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And English is the official language of the entire country, but mainly like Wales and Cornwall are very distinct in the United Kingdom because like the languages of like Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and Cornish, and I guess the Isle of Man, they are Celtic languages, so they are very different from English, but English is used most of the time in the country. But if you see a different language, you know you're not in England. And Ireland doesn't use A like this, they use like N, and they don't have these exact signs, but they also have the diamond-shaped signs. So this is going to be Scotland or Wales, most likely. And their languages are pretty similar to Irish, but the biggest difference is that you see like apostrophes and such, whatever you want to call it, in Scottish, but you don't in Welsh. I'll get to Welsh in a bit. Okay, so this is mainly something to distinguish the United Kingdom with Ireland, because they are very similar in many ways. First of all, the chevron. The yellow outline, don't use that as a hint. It's very random in Europe. But the chevron itself being black with the white line going through it, you see in the United Kingdom, but not in Ireland, since Ireland uses something different. I can't remember, but this main thing is the thing in the road. So you have these white dashes with a little thing in between. When you see the little thing in between all the lines in the road, that means that you're not in Ireland, so you can easily tell you're gonna be in the UK. Okay, this round has a lot to unpack. First of all, I already talked about the chevrons, but here they are better. This little yellow bollard type thing, which isn't like the official country bollard, it's just a just a different type of bollard. When you see this, think of the United Kingdom, because like Ireland doesn't use it. But then the plates. The United Kingdom is one of the only countries in Europe to have yellow plates. Others are like Netherlands and Luxembourg, who also have front plates, which UK does not. And Old Danish and French coverage has yellow plates. But if you see a yellow back plate and a non-yellow front plate, you're going to be in the United Kingdom or rare France. But even France would have a blue strip. That, along with the English language you see all around, and the non-white outline across the signs, which you can still see with the white outline, but usually that's like a Spanish thing, but it's a thing you don't see in France. And the driving side. The driving side is the biggest thing for the UK, because obviously, like I said, they drive on the left, like Ireland and Malta. And it cuts off the entirety of mainland Europe, except for Gibraltar, which I will get to later. But yeah, this is just the United Kingdom. Okay. And here we're going to talk about it's technically non-overseas territory, but it's not mainland United Kingdom. So we have the yellow plates on the back. So I would say the United Kingdom. We have more of Irish architecture here, with like more white buildings and such. And this building especially is non-English, I should say. We also have Gen 2 camera, which is found in a lot of Western European nations, but especially this place, which is the Isle of Man, which only has Gen 2 camera. This really awful camera. And there's no antenna, which is good for narrowing it down. But probably the biggest thing to completely verify, which something we see here, if you see a curve, it'll be black and white, but that's not as important. The plates have a red strip on the left of them. Seeing a red strip on a plate on the far left pretty much means you're in the Isle of Man, Albania, or Kyrgyzstan. I'm pretty sure there's another place, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But, as you can tell, it's very easy to tell the difference between the three. They are very different. Just by the plate alone, if you see red, then all three of the plates look different in themselves. So, red plate, the little strip on the left, when you're in the United Kingdom, means you're in the Isle of Man, which is in between Ireland and the UK. Okay, another little region guessing thing. That's something similar with most of the British older colonies. The garbage cans, they say the name of the cities quite a lot, which here it says Worcester, which is somewhere around here. I'll find it eventually, but you also see them say the name of their cities in like New Zealand's a very good one, because like you could see like Auckland or New Plymouth or Dunedin. New Zealand's a very good one. I think like Australia, Ireland, Canada, and some more, they might do something similar with their cans. Oh, here's Worcester. But yeah, always look out for the trash cans, because they oftentimes will say exactly where you are in a country or in the United Kingdom. Okay, here's another thing similar to the Isle of Man. We have Gen 2 camera without an antenna. That's important. Which that doesn't cross out too much, because it could still be the United Kingdom. But instead of a mix of British and Irish architecture, we have a mix of British and French architecture. Because like this house, for example, and like these, especially these buildings right here, these are French buildings. And we are even sometimes driving on the right, which you can drive on both the left and the right here in the island of Jersey, which is where we are. But we see this right side sign with the yellow plate. Jersey's oftentimes what is going to be. But this like rocky granite, I don't know if granite's the right word. This rocking stone wall, these buildings especially, seeing these red rock walls, red rocky buildings like this, for example, this is the main architecture of the island. But you can of course see the more French styles and the British red brick. That's mainly it for Jersey, because it's just Gen 2 and different architecture. That's the main thing. Okay, and here for an actual overseas territory, because this is nothing like the British Isles. We are in a very tropical coastal area. And we are driving on the left, we don't have, you have to get yellow plates, but this place, if you're playing NN and PC, this tip won't be so useful. But every time you see this Google car, that you just see like the entire front of the truck like this, and this blur with the mirrors, but you actually see like the whole car when the car is black, like this exact car. If you see this, you're gonna be in Bermuda. That's just what it's going to be. And the more you get this car, the more you'll know the landscape, like these palms, the language, and just getting an overall feel. Also, we have a yellow center line, which is in the Americas. So yeah, this is Bermuda. If you're just getting into the game, or you're decently into the game like an intermediate, this is the best thing to know you're in Bermuda. Most people already know this though, because also region guessing Bermuda is not important. You just gotta, if you see water, then you can, because like I'm probably gonna be around here or so, and I was, but yeah. Okay, and the classic Northern European landscape. Not too lush, but these mountains, the highlands like this, you see all over Europe. You can see in like northern and western Ireland. You can see in Scotland, like Norway, Faroe Islands, and Iceland. But Iceland, Faroe, and Norway usually don't have like any vegetation on these hills. But when you do have vegetation on the hills, you're probably going to be in Scotland or Ireland. Also, the Red Road is something up north. A lot of things like in Sweden, Norway, and Scotland. But yeah, these are the Scottish Highlands. Very cold. Very mountainous, very hilly. Yeah. And we can tell we're in Scotland because we are driving left with this sign. And then we have the yellow plate, which you won't always see a car. But yeah, the Scottish Highlands pretty much cut a line from Inverness to Glasgow. West, that's pretty much the Highlands. Or you could even do Glasgow to Aberdeen, or one of these northern areas up here, and then west. That's all. It's gonna pretty much look like this, or it'd be much more mountainous. And here's the Welsh language. It's very similar to the other Celtic languages, but we use a lot. But in Welsh, there's a lot more W's and such, and you also usually don't have like apostrophes anywhere in the language. It's more similar. Actually, no, I shouldn't say it's more similar to English and Scottish. Welsh is very unique. There's usually a lot of very long words with, like, honestly, Welsh and Polish are not similar, like actually, but just the way that it's very confusing to someone who doesn't know languages very well. When you see the most confusing and quote unquote weird languages, Welsh and Polish usually come up with that. But yeah, a lot of W's and other consonants, or there's no apostrophes or anything, so you're gonna be in Wales and also Cardiff. And here is here's the thing for the United Kingdom that I use probably the most to distinguish it with Ireland, which is the metal fence, or like the fence gate, I guess. So the corners of the fence here. The corners there and on the other side, it'll either be perpendicular like this, to where it goes straight and connects straight. Perfect like that. Well, yeah, and it'll be like a square. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. A square edge here. It goes all the way out and then down. That's the UK version. But in Ireland, it'll be like a circle. It'll bend and curve around. With the curved edge is Irish. It means that you're not in the United Kingdom. But in Northern Ireland, it can use both. But that's probably the thing I use the most to distinguish Ireland and the United Kingdom, because this image I would go with UK, just off of vibes. But this could be the United Kingdom or Ireland. But then I would turn around and see this fence and okay, it's the UK. And this tip is not the most useful, but this area, when you're better at the game, it's usually just a vibes thing and more meta, or if you know the phone codes. But I don't know the phone codes. But Northern Ireland is very hard to tell if you're not if you don't know it very well, because the UK and Ireland look so similar already, and it just kind of combines the two based on like architecture and just everything in general. Though seeing the actual brick road letters and the numbers, you will sometimes see like the N and the A at the same time, which is good info. But on Northern Ireland polls, this black marker here is showing a number and then a letter, mainly I. That is unique to Northern Ireland. The only problem with it is that it's not guaranteed to appear. So if you see this, go to Northern Ireland. That's simple. If you don't see it, well, then you won't know it's Northern Ireland, usually, and it'll be tough. Unless you see, like, Irish with the yellow plate and you're chilling. Okay, another thing with architecture, this, like, stone brick, cobblestone, well, yeah, whatever this is, the stone architecture with the yellow plates, this is more of Scottish architecture. Instead of the English red brick architecture that you see in, like, to northern area of France, you can see it in Belgium quite a lot, even the Netherlands especially. The very red brick architecture is English, and everywhere else, but not as much. Everywhere else, Scotland uses this texture more. So I'll go with Aberdeen because I know it's there. Okay, and the last overseas territory that I will be going over today, because there is also like the Falkland Islands, which have very little coverage of the Chagos Islands, which I have talked about in a past video, that might go to Mauritius, and that give the Pitcairn Islands all the way over here. But the last somewhat useful overseas, I should put apostrophes around that territory, which is actually an integral part of the UK, is Gibraltar, which usually is not confused with the UK. So Gibraltar only has this Gen 3 camera, but is very recognizable. First thing, the Gibraltar antenna. The antenna with the white tip, or I guess it'd be the white like edge, but the very end of it is black instead of white. So, and this is the Gibraltar antenna. So if you see this, just go to Gibraltar. But Gibraltar does look a lot like Spain, and you can't kind of see this in Spain. So Gibraltar is very mountainous, but also you do have the yellow plates usually, but not here. But we're driving on the right, which is not correct for the United Kingdom, but it is for Gibraltar, since Gibraltar drives on the right instead of the left. But we have the infamous Gibraltar like rock, which is actually up here, but this Gibraltar is made on this like rock. I say cliff, I think is a better word for it. But in most of the coverage, you will see it, or you'll be on like, or even like this Eastern Road, you will literally just be able to see the actual formation itself. But this is the Gibraltar Rock Formation, which we can barely see here. Kind of similar to San Marino, with the mountain that the country was built off of. But this is everywhere in Gibraltar. And you also have these very few unique trees, which I actually didn't even know that these were even here. You don't have too much British architecture, but you have a lot more Spanish architecture, but of course you do see British ones still. But yeah, this is in Spain because the antenna, some of the architecture is a bit weird. The Gen 3 is consistent across Gibraltar. So sometimes the yellow plates, and then you have the rock formation. So yeah, I could try to line this up. We have the water right there, but I don't really want to line it up. It's probably like going to be around here or more east, and it was. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then I've been talking about it all video, the red brick architecture with the housing style. So most of the British population lives in these houses that are interconnected. They are built side by side like this. I think it's like 60% of the population lives like this. And the red brick architecture just further proves that, because it's everywhere in England. And with this housing style, you're also going to be in the United Kingdom, so it's not like the Netherlands or anything. But as you can tell with this, Birmingham is the biggest example of this architecture by far. We can see it everywhere. This is the most red brick house you can ever find in the entire world. Anyways, that'll be it for this tips and tricks video of the United Kingdom. I will probably do another European country next because they are the most important to learn pretty much. Because they all just look the same. Usually. At least like the rural rounds. But anyways, I will see y'all next time.